Hello, and welcome to another edition of Artist Spotlight. I'm Vicki Landon, Administrator for Orange County's Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs, and I am here today with Norman Thoughtful Anderson, also known as a Thoughtful Guy. Thanks for being here.
Oh yeah, no problem.
So let me ask you first, right off the bat, about your artist moniker, right? You could have been Norman Compassionate Anderson or Norman Exciting Anderson. What made you choose Thoughtful as your artist identity?
It really came from me feeling like I was an overthinker, or just having like kind of like a universe in my mind. I'm just always thinking. I'm always like just lost in my imagination. So that's really where it came from.
I've noticed looking at your work that you have like a really wide variety of styles, right? You've done some doodle work and illustrated work. I've seen a lot of cubism in your stuff, but your work also has like a lot of social commentary and themes. So like, have you found that one style really lends itself better to social commentary than the other for you?
I would say probably cartoons, just for its influence with comics and stuff like that. That's what I do more authentically than anything else. It's just my cartoons. But honestly, I just get curious about different styles, and I want to try different things. I try to tie in my aesthetic or my creative process with different styles.
Is that like why you've partnered with other artists? Because a lot of your pieces here are collaborations, right, with other artists.
A lot of the collaborations are spontaneous. The one with Natterson, that was also like kind of an impulsive painting. Like he had to catch a flight in a few hours, and so we were like, hey, let's paint, right now while we got some time. And so we painted that one collab in about like an hour before he had to head to the airport. And even the one that the work from home one is also just an impulsive one. My car broke down, and so I had to wait for my car to get fixed. And so Gerline and I just decided to work on a painting. And so we just knocked that out while my car was getting fixed, things like that. It just happens.
So I know you do like live painting, right? And you also do like studio work, but it sounds like whenever you have a free moment and like the spirit captures you, you do the work, right? Is there one environment you like better for creating art than the other?
Definitely when I'm live painting, when I'm doing the street art is when I do most of my art. I would say probably 90% of the paintings here have been done primarily while I was on the street somewhere within Orlando. Usually on Orange Ave is where most people would find me. I feel like when there's an audience, I feel more motivated to actually finish my work and complete it and not get distracted. So it's like a performance, but it also holds me accountable when there's someone who wants to be entertained. So I just like to captivate people, because most of the paintings are like speed paintings. I go, pretty quick. And so people just like to sit and watch, and I think it's like therapeutic for them, and it's also beneficial to me, and so I just kind of found that to be like a cheat code for me to crank out more art, just to do it in front of an audience.
Yeah. What's the fastest painting you've ever done?
Like 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I'm assuming when you're doing like either speed painting or you're doing like live street painting, does that inform the materials that you're using? Because you're not lugging out quite as many different paints or pens or markers as you would if you know that you might have to pack up in like 2 minutes and scoot, right?
Yeah, I just bring whatever I can fit in a bag. I got this military bag that I got that's pretty awesome. And it has, so many pockets, and I just put all my paint in there. And just whatever I can fit in there, I usually will have this tapestry, and I dump all the paint onto the ground. I just grab whatever is there. So I never really have much of a plan. That's what a lot of my art is intuitive, or like subconscious is what I was saying before. It just whatever, it's like I'm reaching out, and I just grab a color. And then I'll look at the color and be like, okay, this goes here. And I'll just figure it out as I go. And it all just comes together, usually. It's intuitive.
So a lot of artists have like an idea or a social issue in mind when they're gonna paint their work. And they know I'm gonna use these colors and these images to help achieve this goal. But it sounds like that's like the opposite way for you. That's sort of you're painting in the moment where you feel in the moment. And then do you have to interpret the piece later and kind of come up with a message behind it after the work's complete?
Yes, sometimes that's how it happens. I don't really have much of an idea what I'm going towards at first on some of them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It really just depends on how I'm feeling in the moment. But there have been times where I'll just start on something. It's a blank canvas, and I just start painting, just to get something out. And then as I'm painting, I'll get an idea, I'll get inspired, and then like a theme or a concept kind of comes up, during the process, and then it would just come together towards the end. There have been times where I've done a complete painting, and I would have to step back and maybe look at the painting the next day, and then figure out what my subconscious was trying to say, or like what I was really getting at. Because a lot of times like there are emotions that are coming out that maybe I didn't even understand that I was feeling, or thoughts that were kind of like hovering, you know, maybe like I read a book or I saw a story or something like that, and it's just like kind of in there and it comes out in the art.
Now, you've said before in some of your statements that you also create spectacles on random street corners.
Oh yeah.
What are those? What does that look like?
So one of the main things that I do when I would go and do the street art is that I would bring extra canvases, or I'll bring a large tarp or something like that, and I'll invite people to paint with me. Or I'll have somebody come up and I'll tell them, hey, describe what you want me to paint, and it could be anything, like anything, however how silly, and I'll attempt to paint it on the spot, you know. Or you know, I've done a lot of cool stuff. I've even like had like a body painting and stuff like that too. And then, you know, besides the art, this is kind of another side to me, is that I'll do music, I'll do performing, like with African drumming or just whatever I come up with. I'll just bring toys and just have people, you know, just play. Like I'll just do like spontaneous music. I'll bring shakers and stuff and I'll drum, and people just like come up with music on the spot. You know, just whatever I feel. I'm like a clown with a bunch of tricks up my sleeve.
So for like over a decade, right, though, this has sort of been your brand. Like I know you have like this history of organizing house parties and open jams, and
yeah.
And what was the West Side Fire Festival, and how is that the convergence of everything that you just talked about?
So the main theme behind all of that was like spontaneous creation and like childlike creativity is what I was trying to bring out of adults typically. And so usually that would involve like an open jam of some kind, where like I'm inviting the community to create probably more than they would on, you know, if they didn't come to whatever event I was hosting, you know, like try to get people to create more, you know. So I would do open jam parties where I would invite people to bring instruments or you know, art supplies or things like that, and just get everyone to paint, get everyone to make music, you know, it's stuff like that. And then the West Side Fire Festival was really just kind of like the evolution of that over the years. It was an open mic and a drum circle, and also a night market. So it's just like I kind of fused all the same themes, and it just had people, you know, showing their art, showing their poetry, and then I had the art station and like games and stuff like that. Just having people just like, you know, just be creative within a community and bring people together through creativity.
So it seems like your work, yes, there's this sort of like self-indulgent maybe nature that like you're an artist and you're creating to express your feelings and explore yourself, but it also sounds like you're using this as an application to benefit the community and benefit other people. Is that part of what a thoughtful universe is, and what is a thoughtful universe?
Well, yeah, that's definitely like a strong aspect of a thoughtful universe. We'll do that. That's I guess like the brand of what I was using as an event organizer, how I was organizing the West Side Drum Circle and the Fire Festival that I threw back in April with some other collaborators. But yeah, like the theme behind that is definitely just to get people to create more. So usually the art, you know, a thoughtful universe will host the thoughtful art station, which is what I called it. It's where it's mostly like a kids art station that I set up, and it's usually like either the kids or the inner child of whatever adult happens to be walking by, and I just invite everyone to paint, and I'll just give them the art supplies and stuff like that, and just keep the creativity flowing. You know, it's like I'm trying to get my own artistic expression out, but I'm also trying to like influence others to get their own expression out, because I feel like it's therapeutic and it helps heal the community. It helps, you know, build connections, and I feel like it just makes the world a better place, you know. If
people are really jiving with this and they want to connect, they want to get engaged, they want to attend an event, like how do they find you online, on socials? Where can people find a thoughtful guy?
Definitely on Instagram. My Instagram is athoughtfulguy, how it's spelled, or athoughtfuluniverse.com.
Well, Norman, thank you so much for being here and sharing your thoughtful artwork and all of this with us here at the Multicultural Center. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Artist Spotlight. We'll catch you next time.